And a pleasant good evening to you, and welcome on to the Otters Digital Network and WYIR. Matthew Will joining you here for tonight's broadcast between the Lake Erie Crushers and the Evansville Otters in Avon, Ohio. We apologize that we are not available on Home Team Network this evening. Our good friend Evan Patoka, the voice of the Otters, is under the weather this evening, so he is getting some much needed rest and making sure he's going to be good to go, hopefully, for tomorrow night's broadcast. So instead, tonight, I'll be guiding you through the game here from Evansville as we kind of follow along with the live action there in Avon, Ohio. We break down things between these two squads that have seen each other quite a bit just in this last week. 3 games in Avon last week where we saw former Otter Paven Parks have himself a series, found the long ball a couple of times. However, on the other side, Evansville found some positive momentum, carried it into a really strong series with Schaumburg over the weekend, and earned a much needed sweep at home over that really good Boomers team that has really been struggling when they have not been playing at Wintrust Field. As for Evansville, kind of a typical or a similar feel for them to the Schaumburg team I just mentioned. Very good home record for this Evansville team as they continue to get the job done inside the friendly confines of EVSC's historic Bosse Field. 21-11, the Otters come into tonight's game, 1.5 games back of the red-hot Washington Wild Things, who are at 22-9. Hard to believe that 21-11 is not good enough for first in the division. Just for everyone to know, two other divisions that record would lead. But instead, the Otters have to find their way around some really good teams. You're going to have to play a lot of good teams on a regular basis. And most importantly, you're going to have to win these important road series as you try to slowly work your way out of this second spot in the Midwest Central Division. Obviously, it's going to be tough with the way things look over here in the Midwest Conference. Washington, Evansville, Florence, even Lake Erie, though they're a few games further back behind Florence, the 3 of them look really solid in the starting parts of this year. Evansville, Washington, and Florence, 3 of the top 5 records in the Frontier League this year. For Evansville, that 21-11 record carried heavily by their record at EVSC's historic Bosse Field. 15-3 there at home. On the road, 6-8, but that has gotten significantly better over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. It seems like Evansville's found their groove a little bit better when they are away here from Evansville. We'll walk you through the starting lineups for tonight's game. First, for the visiting Evansville Otters entering today's game at 21-11. The leadoff man from Edward Jones is the center fielder, number 3, John Ponder. Batting in the 2 hole will be the second baseman, number 12, Amani Jones, switch hitting. And Logan Brown, the lefty, brings in the 3 hole, catching. And in the cleanup spot is the first baseman, number 10, Dennis Pierce. Sam Linscott batting 5th this evening, playing right field. Marcos Gonzalez batting 6th at third base. LG Castillo in the 7 spot and the designated hitter this evening. Mark Black playing left field, batting 8th. And TJ Salvaggio will bring up the rear for Evansville in the 9 hole and will be the shortstop this evening. On the bump, it's Ben Peschke, who has had to find himself around a couple of starts that I'm sure he's not been the happiest with, trying to find his footing again, maybe find himself back to where he started the season, where we were starting to really question if he was going to be the one who emerged as the new ace of Evansville once Griff Hughes had departed. Now it seems like everyone's kind of having their days off and on, which is not the worst thing in the world to have for your starting rotation as you get started with the season. We turn the page over to the Lake Erie Crushers, who enter this evening's game at 14-19. Leading off is the center fielder, number 10, Sebastian Alexander. Batting second, the right fielder, Garrett Pike. Batting third, familiar face, second baseman Paven Parks. In the cleanup spot, it's Derek Vegas. He's the designated hitter. Batting fifth is the left fielder, Samuel Benjamin. Batting sixth, the catcher, Alfredo Gonzalez, one of the many very talented vets in this league this year. In the 7 hole, it's first baseman Jacob Tobias. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Jared Watkins. And it's Luis Acevedo who will bring up the rear for the Crushers, playing third base. On the bump for Lake Erie this evening is Andres Parra. He's a lefty, and the lefties have been something that Evansville has not had to tackle as often as they might have thought in the early parts of this season. It does seem like we're seeing a whole lot more on that other side with those righty pitchers. And that's kind of how Evansville seemed to have built themselves. Really strong righties in their lineup, can hit those righties well. It's when they have these lefties that things start to look just a little bit different. That being said, still a positive record: 7-3 against facing lefties, 14-8 against those righties, like I mentioned. But Evansville has still found their way around some pretty solid arms so far this season. We mentioned that there is a few games between these two teams because Evansville just a game and a half back of Washington. Lake Erie is 9 games back of Washington. You're not quite to July here, so obviously you're in a scenario right now where you cannot afford to find yourself getting further out of the playoff hunt than is comfortable. When you hit that All-Star break, the third week of July, by that point, it's still got to be single digits. You got to think moving forward if you want to have a shot at making the Frontier League postseason. We're ready to go in Avon, Ohio. John Ponder, the Edward Jones leadoff batter game, has stepped in, and the first pitch from Para is high and outside. A fastball will be far away for ball 1. Evansville trying to carry their positive momentum from a really solid weekend at home against the Boomers. Next pitch almost in the exact same spot, high and away, and it's quickly 2-0 for the leadoff man, Ponder. And I tell you what, John Ponder has been a whole lot of fun to watch this year for Evansville, a guy who is just starting out his hopefully very long and successful professional career. Swinging at pitch 3. This one's driven high and deep towards right field, but able to bring it in at the warning track is going to be Garrett Pike. But a solid bit of contact there for John Ponder to get this game underway, as Para had really challenged him there. 2 pitches high and out of the zone made him swing the bat with a solid fastball in the zone, but Ponder not able to do enough with it. That'll bring up the switch hitting Amani Jones because of the lefty starter. He hitting on the right side tonight. First pitch home from Para on its way, and it is low for ball 1. Tried to go off speed there to kick things off. Amani Jones entering the game, batting there at 300. And it seems like it's been a little bit streaky off and on for him. He'll get himself a couple of really solid games, maybe have one off game, and then he's right back on it the next night. 1-0 is on the outside edge. Carving is Andres Para, and the off speed's got it for a 1-1 count now. Amani Jones trying to find the bases for the first time this evening for Evansville, and he will see the next pitch outside for ball 2. Amani Jones with 36 hits to his name this year across 120 at-bats. 6 of them doubles, 2 of them home runs. 2-1 on its way. Once again, outside in that other's batter's box, and it's 3-1 now for Amani Jones. So far, that's the story. Andres Para has not found the strike zone a whole bunch. The 2 times he has, he's forced John Ponder to put good contact on the ball and fly out. And on the other side, Amani Jones seeing one just barely touch the outside. The next pitch just misses on the outside, and it's ball 4. It's a Deerhead Sidewalk Cafe and Bar. So a solid way for Amani Jones to kick off his day, gaining the free base, and that will bring up the veteran catcher, Logan Brown, hitting on that left side, of course. Logan was not with the team on Saturday as he was serving his role as an assistant coach with the Mater Dei baseball team, and we say congratulations to them for their semi-state championship. They will be heading to Victory Field on Saturday up in Indy as they fight for a state championship. So good luck to Logan Brown and the Mater Dei Wildcats. He sees the first pitch outside for ball 1, and the 1-0 is going to bounce across the plate for ball 2. Once again, we thank everyone for joining us here on the Otters Digital Network, or WYIR. We are only on audio this evening as our good friend Evan Patoka is under the weather this evening. And due to that, our audio is just available here on our typical audio-only options. as we didn't have a lot of time to set things up with HTN today. We're thankful to them that they were able to work with us, and we're hoping tomorrow night Evan is able to join you on the air live in Avon. But we do thank you for joining us here. 2-0, barely catches the zone on the inside edge. Logan thought he was plenty good for the 3-0. And he has a quick conversation with home plate umpire Juan Rodriguez. He's the crew chief this evening. Miguel De La Cruz over on the right side of the infield. Jalen Jarvis umpiring on the left side. The 2-1 finds the zone. And once again, Logan Brown with a very brief shake of the head. Not sure on that one, but it sets him up with a 2-2 pitch with Amani Jones on first. 1 out here in the top of the first inning in the series opener in Avon, Ohio between the Crushers and the Otters. The 2-2, swinging strike 3. Logan Brown caught on a pitch that was off speed, got way out in front of it, and he will sit down with a strikeout. Not the way Logan wanted to see that at-bat go. And now Dennis Pierce, the cleanup man, will try to make something happen with Amani Jones over there on first after the free pass. Parra going to check over at first base, but Amani Jones back in plenty of time. Nothing to worry about over there. Already one game in the books here in the Frontier League today. Ottawa and New Jersey had a standalone game earlier this afternoon. Parra's pitch home is sent very high and foul by Dennis Pierce, giving charges Pike, and he just about makes it there. The ball one hops right in front of him over in Evansville's bullpen down the right field line. Maybe 1 second longer and he would have been able to make a catch there and in the inning, but instead Dennis Pierce still alive right now. Enjoyed chatting with Dennis Pierce on Sunday after the series finale with Schaumburg, just getting his thoughts on the whole weekend, but especially on Sundays, a big crowd, the Clydesdales, the win, just a lot of positive momentum in this squad on Sunday, and it seems as though Dennis Pierce and this entire team really likes where this team is at right now. They say the clubhouse is very positive. The guys liking being around each other. They're fighting for each other on and off the field, and it seems like it's a really positive environment right now in that locker room, and they're trying to carry it here on the road, where they have struggled early in the season this year. Like we mentioned earlier, 15-3, the Otters are at home. 6-8, however, away from EVSC's historic Bosse Field. A 2-1 for Dennis Pierce. Just catches the outside edge of the zone. Dennis Pierce shaking his head. The Otters hitters not a fan of the early strike zone thus far from Juan Rodriguez. But they're going to have to adapt and find their way through it, unfortunately, if they are disagreeing with it. Have to find a way. The 2-2. This one's fouled straight back into the netting, and Dennis Pierce keeps himself alive. 2 outs, top of the first. Amani Jones reached first on a walk earlier in the inning, and so far Evansville unable to do anything with him. John Ponder put a pretty good charge into a baseball in the first at-bat of the game, but not enough to make anything happen. The 2-2 bounces across the plate. Thrown just about 59 feet. Hopped right before the circle about. And we'll take our count to full. If he's needed, Sam Linscott on deck. The right fielder ready to hop in and make a difference if he needs to. First, Dennis Pierce on a full count pitch. Pushes one out to the opposite field. Pike chasing after. He's at the warning track. At the wall. It's gone. Oh my goodness, Dennis Pierce. That ball just kept carrying. Didn't seem like it had much behind it. But it just carried and carried and carried. And Dennis Pierce, a 2-run home run, puts the Otters on top here in the top of the first inning. Somebody play Electric Slide Boogie Woogie. Dennis Pierce has hit a 2-run bomb here in the top of the first, and Evansville leads before they even have to take the field defensively. exactly the way you want to start this game, especially after, both Logan Brown and Dennis Pierce saw a couple pitches that they didn't love, ended up getting called strikes they didn't agree with, and had to adapt and push through their at-bats. Dennis Pierce able to put a charge into one. Sam Linscott at the plate now. Sees the 0-1 come across for strike two, so 2 quick strikes for him, and now he's going to have to defend. An 0-2 up near the shoulders and a bit inside, and because of that, it's 1-2 count now for Sam Linscott, the right fielder, who has been a great addition to this squad since joining a couple weeks into the season. Sends one to the left side through. It's for a base hit into left field. A good diving attempt there by the Crushers' third baseman, Luis Acevedo, but it is just past the extended glove, and the inning will continue. Sam Linscott keeping things alive. So that'll bring Marcos Gonzalez, the Otters' third baseman, to the plate. 2 outs, man on first is Linscott. The Otters leading 2-0 after the Dennis Pierce 2-run home run. Another important road trip here for Evansville. Just a quick 3 games before they come right back to the friendly confines of EVSC's historic Bosse Field. This really feels like an important series. You're starting to feel out where everyone is in the standings, and obviously there is a break between where Evansville is right now and where Lake Erie is at the bottom of the division. So you've got to win these contests because they almost count double in those games back. When you think about it being a divisional opponent, it's always important to get those done. The 1-1 misses low and inside for Marcos Gonzalez, and he takes a 2-1 lead in the count. Just about makes contact with the 2-1, but he's just behind the baseball, and the count evens at 2-2 after the swinging strike. Thought he timed it well, but the fastball beat him. Andres Parra looking to get out of the inning. The 2-2. Makes a throw over to first instead, however. Looked like he was ready to fire home. Pretty good pickoff move there. Those lefty pitchers do have that ability, of course. But Linscott back in time. Now the 2-2 once again fouled off over towards the first base side and out of play. And Marcos Gonzalez will live to see another pitch. If needed, LG Castillo ready in the on-deck circle. But first, the 2-2 to Marcos. Dribbled over towards the Lake Erie dugout. And the count remains at 2-2. So we await one more time a 2-2 pitch as the Otters are looking to extend their early lead in this one. Up 2-0 in the top of the first inning, thanks to a Dennis Pierce homer. The 2-2 to Marcos. Stays low and the count goes full. Otters are wearing their full road grays with script Evansville across the chest in blue. Blue numbers on the back as well. The 3-2 home to Marcos. Another foul ball is lifted up and out of play on that first base side, and we will have to do the 3-2 pitch once again. Sam Linscott returning all the way back to first as he had gotten a running start on things. Lake Erie is playing in their full home whites this evening. White tops, white pants, white hats with a purple brim on them. 3-2 almost chokes up Marcos Gonzalez. He's able to keep his swing back far enough, and it's ball 4. A Deerhead Sidewalk, Cafe, and Bar, and there's runners on first and second for the Otters here with 2 outs. And that is going to prompt a meeting up on the mound for Lake Erie as longtime former Otter Brandon Sittinger heads to the mound. If you weren't aware, Brandon Sittinger serving as a player assistant coach in the pitching department over there with Lake Erie this year. Of course, he's one of the 4 Evansville Otters who at one point were Otters, had their contract purchased by an MLB squad, and he's one of the 4 who has made it all the way to the MLB, which is, of course, a huge moment for him, a huge moment for the organization, and we're very glad that we were able to be part of his story. Now, able to move his family a little closer to home base, and he and his wife able to enjoy life there in the Cleveland area, and he's still able to play ball. So it's good that we get to still see him a couple times every year, his banner hanging there in the inner concourse at Bosse Field, of course. The DH, LG Castillo, heads to the plate, and boy, has he had a last few games. First pitch he sees right back up the middle. That'll get to center field. Coming home is Linscott. Beats the throw, and it's 3-0 Otters. LG Castillo continues what has been a great series of games. We were trying to push for a potential Player of the Week nomination for him. Didn't quite do enough, but LG says, I'm not done. Keeps putting up solid numbers. It's an RBI single for the big man, and it'll bring Mark Black up. The inning's still alive for Evansville. Called strike 1 on the high outside edge for Mark Black. Runners at first and second. Gonzalez at second. Castillo at first. 2 outs here in this first inning. The 0-1 home stays low and a bit outside, and it'll even our count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Long wait from Parra on the mound before he sends the next pitch home. Finally, the 1-1. Ooh, good pitch. Looked like it caught the bottom edge of the zone, went off speed there. However, a better eye from Mark Black is able to leave it alone. 2-1 as Parra is desperate to get out of this first inning. Ball well high and outside, and it's a 3-1 count. Now for Mark Black. Still life for Evansville here in the top of the first inning as they are looking to build on what is already a solid start. 3-1 to Mark Black. Makes contact, puts a ball out towards right field in the corner, and it is just at the wall. Hard to tell if that's foul or fair. I believe they've called it foul. Linscott and Gonzalez were both all the way nearly home. Gonzalez was basically there. Linscott was about halfway past third. So they will walk back to first and second. And we will have to try once again now on a full count for Mark Black, who just about sent one out of here for potentially 3 runs. It stayed just enough foul, and Pike was not able to extend over the wall to get it. 2 outs, 2 on, a 3-2 pitch home here in the top of the first inning. On the low edge, and it stays outside. It's ball 4, another Deerhead sidewalk cafe and bar. The bases are loaded as the 9-hole. Mr. Clutch, TJ Salvaggio, will have an opportunity here in the first to extend the lead for the Otters. What a start for Evansville. Trying to carry the positive momentum of nearly 8,000 people at EVSC's historic Bosse Field on Sunday. The Budweiser Clydesdales joining us as well, and they have started well. A mound visit for Lake Erie. However, it looks like we might have the trainer out there. I believe Lake Erie is taking some time to look at Andres Parra. It does look like they're looking at his left elbow potentially. I believe that's Miles Thornton, the athletic trainer there for the Lake Erie Crushers, checking in on things. The entire infield is in there standing, but the conversation basically just between trainer Miles Thornton and Andres Parra. Inning started with John Ponder flying out to right field, put a charge into a baseball, just couldn't quite give it enough lift out in that right field area. Amani Jones reached on a walk directly afterwards, and after Logan Brown sat down via the strikeout, Dennis Pierce was able to battle through a couple of tough pitches and send out a 2-run home run that put Evansville on the board. Sam Linscott then answered a couple pitches later with an RBI single right up the middle. And since then, Marcos Gonzalez with a single, with a walk, LG Castillo with a single, and Mark Black with a walk have loaded the bases. The entire umpire crew is now convened at the center of the infield as well. Everybody talking around Andres Parra and trainer Miles Thornton. And it does look like Parra is going to leave this game as he is walking towards the dugout alongside Miles Thornton. And if he is leaving under that injury, of course, hate to see that, and you hope that you're going to see very quickly Andres Parra find his way back into a baseball game. We'll see who's coming into pitch here in the top of the first inning on the other side. Evansville starting this game well here in Avon. We're right back here on the Otters Digital Network with Game 1 of the series. Adam Brower, the man out of the pen for Lake Erie, as they are looking for out number 3 here in the top of the first inning, just trying to get out of things as Andres Parra pulled in the first inning due to an injury after a lengthy talk up there on the mound with athletic trainer Miles Thornton there from Lake Erie. Unfortunate to see him leave this game that way. Evansville had been getting on him quick. Had 2 outs out of his first 3 batters he faced. But now 5 straight Otters have reached. Dennis Pierce's 2-run home run got the Otters on the board. And LG Castillo's RBI single extended the lead to 3. So it's TJ Salvaggio at the plate now with the bases loaded, 2 outs. First pitch home across the zone for strike 1. And honestly, that's all you had to do. You had to come in, you had to throw a strike first pitch. Get yourself started the right way, and that's exactly what Adam Brower has done. TJ waiting on the 0-1, and it bounces in across the opposite batter's box. And the count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike. Evansville picked up a 12-2 victory on Sunday over the Schaumburg Boomers in one of the most exciting days in Bosse Field's history. Over 7,900 fans joined us at EVSC's historic Bosse Field as the Otters got themselves a win. Ball hit hard down the third base line, but it's called foul. Oh boy, had that thing stayed just fair, Salvaggio would have found himself with at least 2 RBIs, I have a feeling. But instead, the foul ball sends things to 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Salvaggio will now have to do a little bit of defending. We welcome you for all those joining us both on the Otters Digital Network and on WYIR. Not on home team network this evening due to Evan Patoka being under the weather. We're hoping that tomorrow he's going to be ready to go. Chopper hit towards that third base side once again is in foul territory. The count remains at 1-2. Otters trying to keep the good times rolling here as we still await the first pitch of the day from Ben Petchke. 1-2, getting set to come home to TJ Salvaggio. On the way now. Dribbled foul again over there near third base. 3 balls in a row. He's fouled right down that third base line. All 3 of them firmly between the third base line and Andy McCauley's coaching box over there. Pretty heavy breeze blowing here at Forefront Field in Avon. The 1-2 stays well low for ball 2. Fastball looked like it was supposed to hit the bottom corner, bottom edge, and instead just stayed well low. Well stopped by Alfredo Gonzalez, the catcher. 2-2 now to Salvaggio. Well outside across the opposite batter's box, and Alfredo Gonzalez almost looks a bit labored as he catches his body over there after saving that pitch from getting past him. Pass ball or wild pitch here would certainly score a run, of course, but you never know if a second one could sneak around depending on how far away it gets. Salvaggio fouls off a ball to the right side, well out of play. And the 3-2 count will live to see another pitch. Adam Brower trying to get the Crushers out of this first inning after he was brought in when Andres Parra was pulled from the game due to an injury. 3-2 on its way home to Salvaggio. Well high. Bounces all the way back to the backstop. It's a free run for the Otters on the bases loaded walk from TJ Salvaggio. Exactly what you needed to do. Keep things rolling. And the Edward Jones leadoff batter of the game, John Ponder, will head to the plate for the second time this evening. Here in the first inning, he led this game off with a fly ball to right field, a ball that he put a charge into. Just ended a bit short of getting over that wall. Time's called for a second. Unclear as to why. The wind is absolutely blistering right now. Basically straight across the diamond from third base to first base, with the flag out there in the outfield fully sideways. First pitch to Ponder, lifted high and foul to the right side, well out of play. And we will start things off with an 0-1 count. LG Castillo at third, Mark Black at second, TJ Salvaggio at first. The 0-1 on its way. Stays low. Fastball misses the zone. And the count evens at 1-1 strike for John Ponder. Tell you, if you haven't had a chance to watch these Otters play in person, you're missing out. And John Ponder is one of the many reasons why. Very athletic kid. Can make anything look easy out there in the outfield. Reminds you a lot of Patrick Lee from a couple of years ago. No hard comparison to make, but can cover a lot of ground, can hit the baseball very well. He's been a whole lot of fun to watch pretty much live in the Edward Jones leadoff batter of the game spot. Long first inning here as Evansville leads 4-0. The 1-2 home to Ponder. Breaking ball missed the zone, but Ponder was able to foul it away and keep himself from the swinging strike 3. Kind of looked like he got fooled there. Kind of had to change his bat speed midway through the swing. As for now, he's still alive. If needed, Amani Jones on deck. Once again, a 1-2 home to John Ponder. high, just above the elbows, almost chin high. Evens our count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2. Coming home from Adam Brower. This ball's lifted out towards right field. And it drops in front of Pike. 1 run's going to score. 2 runs look like they're going to score. Play at third base, and it does not look like it got there in time. 2-run score on John Ponder's RBI base hit. It's a single, but I imagine it does stay as a single, despite the fact that he ends up at second base. He hustled when he saw the throw going to third. Looks like a single and advancing on the throw. But 2 runs come home on John Ponder's RBI single. And Evansville lifts this thing to a 6-0 advantage to start things off in the top of the first inning. Amani Jones in for his second plate appearance. Walked his first time up. Came home to score on the Dennis Pierce 2-run home run. And his first pitch is fouled straight back behind home. Ponder lifted that ball out towards right field, and it just kind of blooped in there. Paven Parks, the second baseman, tried to run back and make a play, but he ran out of room. 0-1 stays high and evens our count at 1-ball-1-strike for Amani Jones. Two ribbies for John Ponder here in the top of the first inning, adding to what is now a 6-0 advantage. The 1-1 for Amani Jones stays well high. And the count advances to 2-balls-1-strike. A lot of baseball action across the Frontier League this evening. We'll keep you updated with the out-of-town scoreboard as we go through this evening. Only game that was in the books, Ottawa, New Jersey from earlier. Ottawa got a 12-2 victory there in Paterson, New Jersey. Another ball fouled back for Amani Jones, and that evens things at 2-balls-2-strikes. Pitching change happened already in this first inning. Andres Parra officially pulled by the athletic trainer. Looked like some pain in the left elbow region. 2-2 pushed out towards left field, and on its way there, it's snagged by the third baseman for out number 3. Finally, things come to a close, but it's not until we see 10 Otters come to the plate. It's 6-0 Evansville after the top of the first inning. Ben Peschke and the Otters take the field right after this on the Otters Digital Network. Back here in Avon, Ohio, where the Evansville Otters put up a 6 spot in the top of the first inning to take a solid lead in this one over the Lake Erie Crushers, and now they take the field for the very first time. Ben Peschke on the mound, Logan Brown behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is brought to you by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475 9,000. Dennis Pierce at first, Amani Jones at second, TJ Salvaggio at shortstop, Marcos Gonzalez at short, and across the outfield in left field, Mark Black, center field, John Ponder, right field, Sam Linscott. First pitch is a swinging strike one to Sebastian Alexander, the center fielder, and a fouled pitch back into Logan Brown will quickly take our count to 0-2 here in the bottom of the first inning. Ben Peschke wants to find himself a really solid outing that he can hang his hat on. Started this season really in solid form for Evansville. A lot to be happy with. He's just kind of looking for some of those fine-tuned pieces at this point. As the 0-2 misses for ball one. Again, if you are freshly joining us or joined us since the top of the broadcast, we'd like to apologize that we are unavailable this evening over on Home Team Network. But we are carrying you through here on the Otters Digital Network and our friends at WYIR. Thankful for our partnership with them. They came to us last year, and we've been very happy to be able to bring you Otters baseball both online but also on your radio dial. So thankful to all the people over there that make this happen, and we're glad we're able to do it. 2-2 the count to Sebastian Alexander after he fouled a couple of pitches off. Dribbles one to the third base side, but foul towards the dugout. Exciting time right now to be a sports fan. We saw the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup Finals both come to a close in this last week. 2-2 pitch sent way out towards center field. John Ponder tracks it down at the warning track for out number one. You know, I'm going to reference my good friend Bill McCune, who I called games with here on the Otters Digital Network back in 2022. He often described Miles Gordon, who was often playing center field that year, as gliding to the baseball. He was never running. It never looked like he was putting his entire body into a full sprint to get wherever he needed in center field. He just found his groove, glides to where he needs to be in the outfield, and makes the catch. And it seems John Ponder does a very similar aspect in his game, where he gets his speed established very quickly and can figure out exactly how long he's going to need to get to a baseball. 1-0 pitch is dribbled towards Amani Jones at second base, and a pretty easy 4-3 putout for the Otters as Dennis Pierce makes the grab, and it's a quick 2-up, 2-down for the Crushers here in the first inning. If you joined us over the weekend, really at any of the three games, we'd like to say thank you from our entire organization. It was a great weekend across the board for us, and we were really happy to be able to spend a lot of time with our great fans here in Evansville. We're a little biased, but we believe it's the best fan group in the Frontier League. You guys packed Bosse Field all weekend long. I promise the guys on the field fed off that energy. Dennis Pierce mentioned that Sunday was one of the most exciting games he's played in his entire career. So keep it up, Otters fans. The more you pack the stadium, I guarantee you these guys really appreciate it every time you do so. So keep it up. The Otters love it. 1-1 pitch home to Paven Parks, and Paven has to jump out of the way, nearly bounced into his foot. The count goes to 2-1. We also issue one last thank you to Working Distributors, who made everything happen with the Budweiser Clydesdales. Certainly a one-of-a-kind experience for everyone who joined us at Bosse Field, and we couldn't have done it without them. So another thanks to their entire team. Ted, Joel, all of you, Keith, we're certainly thankful for our partnership, and we're certainly thankful that you thought about us when you found out that the Clydesdales would be here in Evansville. 3-1 pitch to former Otter Paven Parks, and it's pushed towards the left side. Salvaggio, diving stop, throw to first. In time, my goodness. TJ Salvaggio can make just about anything look easy at shortstop. Diving grab, pushes himself back up to his feet, Crossbody throw. And it's 3 up, 3 down for Evansville in the bottom of the first against the Crushers after putting up 6 of their own. We head to the second here on the Otters Digital Network and WYIR. And we welcome you back here on the Otters Digital Network and WYIR as we get started with the top of the second inning. And it's a swinging strike one for Logan Brown to get things started. Otters batted 11 in the top of the first. Scored 6 runs and started this game the exact way you want to. Logan Brown extends the hands to swing at his second pitch and is able to just barely foul it away. But now he's going to be facing an 0-2 hole. Crushers already have their backs against the wall early in this one. 0-2 home to Logan Brown. Extends the hands again, but pushes this one towards Paven Parks at second base, and it's a 4-3 put out there. To kick off inning number 2. And of course, to a few fans at least, taking it back to 2022 when I walked you through games a little bit more often than I do now. Keeping an eye on the YouTube chat this evening, so go ahead and throw in where you're listening from. We'd love to shout you out here on the Otters Digital Network. Couldn't do it without you guys, our great fans, and we're sure thankful for all the support you've shown here early in the season. Otters excited to keep things going here. Dennis Pierce at the plate. 0-1 pitch stays low and outside, and the count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike. The last time the Otters were here last weekend, or last midweek, Dennis Pierce hit a baseball very far. My source on site, Evan Patoka, mentioned that we're still not sure if the baseball has landed out there beyond the left field wall. Crushed that thing all the way past the little berm that they have kind of in that left field area. And I think really kind of got Dennis back on his horse a little bit. He was certainly looking for one, and it would be nice to see him continue things after he had the 2-run bomb in his first at-bat today on a ball that just kept carrying and carrying and carrying over that right field wall. Of course, a lot of that helped by a very heavy wind this evening from left out towards right. Randolph settles. We see you there in the YouTube chat listening in from Madisonville. Good to have you here on the Otters Digital Network. Dennis Pierce sends one out, and oh, it's caught by Paven Parks there at second base. It looked like initially it was going to have enough sauce to it that it was going to end up over his head and potentially into right field, but Paven Parks able to pull himself back a couple of extra feet and make a pretty easy grab there for out number 2. So it brings Sam Linscott to the plate. Had a single in his first AB, kind of battled to it as well. It was after Dennis Pierce's 2-run home run. Saw a couple pitches go by and was able to keep himself alive long enough to push one out into the outfield for a base hit. Swings at pitch number 1, falls behind on a breaking ball that kind of fell out low and out of the zone. The 0-1 now, pushed off to the right side, well foul and out of play. And he's quickly down 0-2. A lot of the time, if you're in the second inning, you don't want to be falling behind 0-2 very often. That being said, I think there's a little bit of grace when you're up 6. You're able to find yourself in that scenario a little bit more often. Certainly not a place you want to get too comfortable with, however. Linscott, though, one of those guys that doesn't seem fazed by 0-2 all that often. Able to keep himself composed, fight through some at-bats. He's got back-to-back foul balls here to keep himself alive at an 0-2 count. The 0-2, low and basically exactly where Alfredo Gonzalez, the catcher, wanted it. Was nearly doing the splits back there to keep it right off the ground, but just about as low as you could get it. Trying to get Sam Linscott to chase. A 1-2 pitch on the way now. Linscott sends this one out towards center field. Alexander giving it chase back to the wall. It's off the top of the wall. Just about had enough to get out of here, but maybe missed a home run by a foot. Oh man, one more rep in the weight room and Sam Linscott might have had that thing out of here. Instead, it's a very long double, a Deerhead double-decker double to keep the inning alive. Another ball that just looked like it was going to carry a whole lot further than it had any business doing so. So the Otters have some life after Sam Linscott forces himself to grind through that AB. First pitch on the way to Marcos Gonzalez is a called strike. And Marcos purely looked like he was having no intentions of swinging the bat there. Wanted to see exactly what that was going to look like. The 0-1 dribbled foul towards the Lake Erie dugout on the left side. Sam Linscott at second base. Trying to make something happen here in the second inning with 2 outs. And an 0-2 count to Marcos Gonzalez. Third baseman awaits the pitch. And it's on the way. Swinging strike 3. Adam Brower gets himself out of inning number 2. Even though Sam Linscott was able to find himself on base with a long double. Tell you what, 9 inches, 12 more inches potentially. Might have had that ball out of here. Might have been 7-0. Instead, the Otters take hold of their 6-0 lead and take it to the bottom of the second here on the Otters Digital Network. Ready for the bottom of the second inning here on the Otters Digital Network. Evansville holding on to a 6-0 lead as Ben Peschke sends the first pitch home for ball one. And apologies, didn't get it in the first inning. It was the Mesker Park Zoo and Botanical Garden first inning. Visit the Mesker Park Zoo at 1545 Mesker Park Drive right here in Evansville. And this is the J.E. Shekel Armor Protection second inning. Founded in 1978, J.E. Shekel is the Tri-State's premier residential, commercial, and industrial service and construction company. 1-1 pitch sent out towards Salvaggio at shortstop, and he makes a play on a two-hopper. Over to first in time for the first out here of the bottom of the second, Derek Vegas. So a nice quick way to get things started there in the bottom of the second for Evansville. And that brings Samuel Benjamin up, the left fielder, batting lefty. First pitch, beauty right down the middle for a called strike one. Peschke working fairly quickly. 0-1 comes home, but it's in the, or right along the line of the other batter's box on the opposite side for ball one. Tried to see if he could get Benjamin swinging well out of his shoes out there. And now he works inside and a bit low for ball two and takes our count to 2 balls, 1 strike. 2-1 home, pushed out towards left field, and it's going to be foul as the entire bullpen of Lake Erie looked like they were vacating, as a lot of the fans as well are starting to vacate their current seats and find their way up to some cover, as there is, looks like, some rain falling in Avon. There's also been a very heavy wind, basically from third base to first base, directly across the diamond. As we've seen the flags out in center field, they look completely sideways out there, and they've already, I hope they've just turned off the blowers for them. If they haven't, then something has happened to the inflatables beyond the right field wall. It looks like it is deflating rather quickly. Hopefully that is intended and not because something has popped it or flown into it. I know that's not an or certainly an expensive fix if something happens. 3-2 pushed out towards right field, but not quite in time as Amani Jones makes a leaping grab for out number 2, able to extend himself just enough to grab out number 2. Samuel Benjamin hit that ball pretty hard, but he ends up just with the lineup. That brings up one of the solid veterans of this league, Alfredo Gonzalez, the catcher. His first pitch already on its way, a called strike over the top of the plate. Just underneath the elbows there, but across the heart. The 0-1, another called strike on the outside edge. Ben Peschke working rather quickly right now. He's in a groove. The 0-2, pushed off to the right side. Pierce grabs it and tried to send it over towards Peschke with his glove. It looked like it was in a weird location on him. I'll be honest, we didn't get a perfect look at it on HTN, and because of that, it's going to be really hard to make a decision on our end, at least, whether that's going to be an error. I believe they're going to call it an error. But it looked like Dennis Pierce was trying to flick it over to Ben Peschke at first with his glove instead of waiting for the transfer to throw, because there was a quick play happening over there. And because of it, Alfredo Gonzalez, yes, he will reach on a fielding error there on Dennis Pierce. Called strike one kicks things off for Jacob Tobias, who is seeing an at-bat here after it looked like Evansville might get themselves out of the inning. An error extends things. The 0-1. Heavy swinging strike two, my goodness. Cut completely under the baseball. And Ben Peschke's going to have another chance to get himself out of this second inning. Rain falling pretty solid in Avon. The 0-2. Just missed on the outside edge. Peschke had started walking towards the dugout, but it didn't find enough plate. Just too far on the outside. Peschke ready to throw his 32nd pitch of this game here in the bottom of the second inning. On its way. Oh, misses just a little bit again. Again on that outside edge. Man, both of those pitches have been really close. The 2-2 on its way. High and outside, and the count goes full. Peschke had found himself out to a 0-2 advantage here in the count against Jacob Tobias, and now he's going to have to pitch a little defensively with a full count and a runner at first behind him. 3-2, pitch comes home. Swinging strike three for Ben Peschke. And he's got his first strikeout of the day against Jacob Tobias. After the error from Dennis Pierce, nothing comes around for the Crushers. After two full, it's Otters 6, Lake Erie 0 here on the Otters Digital Network. And we're getting set for top of the third action, and it's time for the Precision Pest and Wildlife third inning. Every great team brings precision to the field. Well, we bring it to your home and business. Call 812-993-3341 or visit precisionpestwildlife.com. Let's elevate the standard together. And I do want to extend a special thank you to our friends over at Precision Pest and Wildlife. We of course, dealing with the things that you deal with in an old ballpark, there are little hidey holes all over a 110 in about maybe 24 hours. It becomes an 111-year-old ballpark. There are some hidey holes throughout that stadium, and because of that, we saw ourselves a little raccoon friend a couple of nights ago, just experiencing the Bossy Field magic, just like 8,000 of you guys did as well. So our friends at Precision have been helping us to safely remove him from Bossy Field and get him released somewhere where he's going to be safe. So special thanks to our friends over at Precision Pest and Wildlife, Connor and his whole team. We certainly love doing business with you guys. We certainly love partnering with you guys. And I promise Evan the Otter loves hanging out with Rocky the Raccoon. First pitch home to LG Castillo is a strike for quickly an 0-1 count, and now a 1-1 count on an inside pitch as Adam Brower really wanting to move quickly here in the third inning of action. 1-1 stays just a bit high for ball two. And actually, I beg your pardon, Kenny Pearson coming into pitch here in the third inning. As the ball is smoked out towards center, and it's a line drive base hit for LG Castillo. On the 2-1 from Kenny Pearson. But Pearson did check into this game. It's Pearson on the mound. Gonzalez behind the plate. Pitcher catcher battery brought to you by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East. 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9K, as my good friend Evan Patoka says. So that'll bring up Mark Black, who walked his first time around and was left stranded on the bases. Oh one catches the zone on the outside edge. Takes this count to 0-2. So it's an 0-2 home from Pearson. Ooh, man, Mark Black wanted to turn on that pitch, and it ended up a little more inside than he wanted it. So he checks himself before the swing begins, and it's called ball one. Kenny Pearson sure thought he had got himself a strikeout looking. 1-2, home from Pearson. Another check swing, but it's a called strike three. Home plate umpire Juan Rodriguez hands Mark Black the backwards K with a punch out. So LG Castillo will remain at first, now with TJ Salvaggio at the plate. He had an RBI walk his last time up with the bases loaded, and he'll start this at bat off with a called strike on the low outside edge. I know Evan's been saying it on the broadcast. We've certainly been saying it internally at the Otters. TJ Salvaggio kind of has the nickname Mr. Clutch with us right now. He's been able to find a lot of grass with a lot of baseballs this year, and a lot of the time there's guys on base when he's doing it. It's been a lot of fun to watch. He's picking up hits in the important areas, and plus his family has been a joy to have at Bossy Field on numerous occasions. His grandfather's come up and had some conversations in the press box with us, and we've certainly enjoyed getting to know him and his family. So TJ Salvaggio looking to keep that record alive. 0-2 pitch nearly gets him on the inside. He's able to turn out of it and takes this to a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Kenny Pearson locked in for a 1-2. On the way, this one's lifted out towards left center. Salvaggio puts a charge in it. Back to the wall, it's gone! 2-run home run for TJ Salvaggio. And the Otters lead hits 8. Another baseball just like Dennis Pierce's that just kept carrying and carrying out there. And Alexander had to watch it fly over his head into the batter's eye. It's Otters 8, Lake Erie 0 here in the third inning. Mr. Clutch delivers again. Didn't necessarily need a clutch hit when you're up 6, but you'll take every bit of insurance you can get from a guy like TJ. We head back to the Edward Jones leadoff batter of the game, John Ponder, as he watches ball 1 come high. And a 1-0 pitch home from Pearson. This ball's lifted out towards center field. Alexander giving chase to the warning track, and it's caught for out number 2. Tell you what, every time something's hit out there towards center, you kind of have to gasp a little bit. You kind of have to hold the breath a little bit as well, because you just don't really know out there. A lot of baseballs carrying with this heavy wind, despite the fact that there is still a lot of breeze blowing through this ballpark. So with 2 down and nobody on, it brings Amani Jones to the plate. He's walked and lined out so far in this game. First pitch, a called strike at the knees. All Otters in this one. 6 runs in the first, 2 now here in the third on the 2-run jack from TJ Salvaggio. 0-1 well inside for Jones. The count's evened up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Danny K in the YouTube chat right now. Dan Klusner, good to have him in here. Yes, Evan, not the Otter, not feeling well tonight. Hopefully we will have him back on the airwaves tomorrow evening. Called strike 2 for Amani Jones, and he has to dig in defensively now with 1 ball and 2 strikes to his name. Pearson delivers. This ball is lifted out towards shallow right field. A long run for Pike at the foul fair line, and it ends up bouncing right in front of the Otters bullpen out there in right field. And Amani Jones will keep himself alive. During his at-bat in the first inning, his first at-bat in the first inning, he had 2. Before he ended up walking, he had a foul ball delivered way out there towards right field that just kept extending itself too far foul. 1-2 home, well inside, and Amani Jones evens his count up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Otters would love to find themselves a win tonight and potentially a Washington loss that could bring them to just a half game back. Swinging strike 3 from Amani Jones. He chases a pitch that Kenny Pearson delivered beautifully outside of the zone, just a high moving breaking ball. And because of that, the Otters go down on a second strikeout of the inning, but not before TJ Salvaggio launches a baseball out of center field. 2-run home run makes it 8-0 Evansville after 2.5 innings here in Avon. Bottom of the third inning here in game 1 of the series between the Crushers and the Otters here from Forefront Field in Avon, Ohio. First pitch home from Peschke stays just a bit low for ball 1. Pretty solid rain in Avon right now. All the people that are braving it have umbrellas and ponchos out there. It looks like a heavy wind across the stadium has really persisted the entirety of this game. Looks like it's been blowing basically from left field to right field, directly across the ball field. 2-0 pitch sent over to the right side. Jones plays it on a couple hops, and the throw to Pierce at first in time for out number 1. As Jared Watkins sits down on the ground out. We go to the 9-hole. Luis Acevedo, the third baseman, making his first at-bat of the evening. As things have been a little slow going for Lake Erie thus far. First pitch home. Missing the zone on the low outside edge. Looked close, but Peschke didn't quite have enough height in it. So a 1-0 now. This one's driven towards the right side. Jones has to run a long way, and it gets just past him. Oh, man, Amani Jones made a really good run at that baseball, but it was hit really hard through the right side gap in the infield, and it'll get all the way to the right fielder, Sam Linscott, for the first base hit of the game for these Lake Erie Crushers. It's the 9-hole Luis Acevedo who finally gets him in the hit category. So back to the top of the order, where center fielder Sebastian Alexander will dig in. Stays on the outside edge of the zone for ball 1. Ben Peschke fairly split in his pitches thus far. 41 pitches thrown, 22 strikes, 19 balls. Pitch number 42 is ball 2, and the count goes to 2-0. 1 runner on first, 1 out here in the bottom of the third inning as the Crushers have just found their second base runner of the game and first true opportunity to have some offensive fun with a base hit. Next pitch, again outside edge, again ball. So it's now a 3-0 count. Ball looks like it's in the exact same spot on his fourth pitch, but it finds the zone for a called strike. And it's now a 3-1 count. Acevedos jumping around over at first, and Ben Pesky's going to go check on him. But he's back in time. Three-one dribbled foul towards the left side, and will end up near the Lake Erie dugout. And that was kind of strange when they pushed the camera over there towards that third base dugout. There was not a soul in it for Lake Erie. I wonder if they're all just dodging the rain and sitting far enough underneath there that we couldn't see a soul, but kind of looked like they had completely vacated the dugout there. Full count pitch home. Once again fouled off to the left side over towards that empty looking dugout for Lake Erie, and they will keep themselves alive with one out here in the bottom of the third. Another ball lifted foul. This one keeps itself on that third base side, of course, and the count remains 3 balls, 2 strikes here. For the leadoff man, Sebastian Alexander, who is in his second plate appearance of the night. His first opportunity, a fly out to center field that John Ponder made look a whole lot easier than he probably should have. 3-2. Pitch comes home from Ben Pesky. This one's fouled up behind home over towards the Otters dugout. Logan Brown gives chase, but it will end up in the third or fourth row of seats at Forefront Field. And we'll do it again at 3 balls, 2 strikes. We'll get you through the Frontier League scoreboard when we have a chance here soon. But of course, a lot of eyes in the nation on college baseball this evening as Georgia and Texas are playing in a all-important elimination game this evening. Stolen base attempt, and in there safely is going to be Luis Acevedos. But actually, it's not going to matter. They call it ball 4. So he will get the base for free, and Sebastian Alexander will take first base courtesy of the walk. So that'll bring up Garrett Pike, the 2-hole hitter. In his first opportunity there in the first inning, he grounded out to second baseman Amani Jones. First pitch, Logan Brown leaves planted right in the middle of the zone for 3 or 4 seconds after the ball had made it home, trying to get the called strike, but it will be ball 1 instead. Runners at first and second. 1 out here. Ball is lifted out towards shallow left field. Black's running in, a diving catch, and he makes it. My goodness, looked like Mark Black was just running out of room. He was about to get or meet up with TJ Salvaggio, and all of a sudden he lays the body out, makes a pretty good grab. It's out number 2, and nobody advances on the play. Big time for the Otters to get themselves that second out, and it's a former Otter, Paven Parks, who's at the plate with an opportunity to put Lake Erie on the board with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Evansville leads this ball game 8-0 after a 6 spot in the first. First pitch home to Parks, and it's a called strike 1. He thought about swinging the bat, decided to check his swing, but it was called anyway. Pesky glances back towards second, and fires home on the 0-1. Misses the zone low and outside, but I won't lie to you. I think that's exactly the pitch that Logan Brown wanted. He was set up directly there. The glove did not move after the pitch was thrown. It was exactly where he wanted it. Looks like they were purely just trying to get Paven Parks to chase that baseball low and outside. Another glance out towards second. Peschke delivers. A check swing, but it's another called strike. This one catches the inside edge, and he turns and gives a couple of mentions of his thoughts on the pitch to our home plate umpire, Juan Rodriguez. He's the crew chief this evening. Miguel de la Cruz on the right side of the infield, Jalen Jarvis on the left side of the infield. The 1-2 from Peschke. Swinging strike three, a check swing, but he went too far around. Paven Park sits down on a strikeout. Ben Peschke picks up his second German American Bank strikeout of the day. We head to the fourth. Evansville leaves this one 8-0 in Avon. And it's now time for the Sheet Metal Workers Local 24th inning. For 138 years, sheet metal workers have led the way in sheet metal industries like heating and air, architectural, industrial, and more. Visit smart20evansville.com for more information. Ready for the fourth inning here from Avon, Ohio. Very first pitch, Logan Brown takes down the right field line, and it's fair. He's rounding first. Pike makes the throw into second. Sliding in is Logan Brown. It's a lead-off double here to kick off the fourth inning for Brownie. How about that? The very first pitch he saw, the Mount Vernon kid sends one down the line. Certainly strange for these guys to be in their fourth inning of play and already getting third at-bats, of course. So that will bring Dennis Pierce up, the cleanup man. Already has a two-run homer to his name this evening. First pitch to him, high and outside, ball one. And I'll be honest with you, folks, we're going to do our best. Oh, we're okay now. We had a brief moment there where we had lost some of the live scoring, and unfortunately, due to our predicament this evening, we do have to rely on that heavily. So I'm going to do my best to deliver all the information you need as quickly as I can to you. Kenny Pearson still pitching out there for Lake Erie, of course. 2-0 count to Dennis Pierce. The pitch comes home. Swinging right through it was Dennis Pierce, but just barely beat him there. He was out in front of it, sitting fastball, and ended up with a really beautiful looking breaking pitch across the side of the zone. 2-1 on its way home to Dennis Pierce. Stays low, ball three. Sam Linscott on deck. He already has a multi-hit game. 3-1 on its way to Dennis Pierce. That's a called strike, and the count heads to 3-2. He wasn't too pleased with himself after that pitch, immediately turned away and took a couple steps out of the zone or out of the box to reset himself. And now it's a full count. 3-2 on the way. This one's popped up really high in the infield. Kenny Pearson goes sprinting out of the way, and it's the first baseman, Tobias, who comes across and slides on the mound as he makes the catch. That looked a whole lot harder than it needed to. But it's the result the Crushers needed. A pop out to get their first out of the inning. And Logan Brown's leadoff double will keep him at second base regardless after this. So now Sam Linscott will walk in. Linscott with a single in the first and a double in the second. First pitch he sees is well outside of the zone in that opposite batter's box. Logan Brown at second, Marcos Gonzalez on deck as Sam Linscott looks to extend his 2-for-2 day to a potential 3-for-3 day. The 1-0 crosses the entirety of the plate. It looked like a really well-developed slider there that started outside, moved inside on Linscott. He was able to keep himself in check, and it's ball two. Two-0 on the way. Called strike. And it takes the count to 2 balls, 1 strike for Sam Linscott. Long wait before the next pitch. As the 2-1 finally comes home to Linscott. This one's hit right back up the middle. It's down for a base hit. A single for Sam Linscott will move Logan Brown, but it's not enough to score him. There's runners on the corners and just one out for Evansville in the top of the 4th inning, thanks to a single from Sam Linscott. And it's a 3-for-3 day for Sam Linscott. Surely one that the Otters are happy to see for him. So a little bit of a wait here before the first pitch to Marcos Gonzalez. And it's on the way. Stays high for ball one. And a long wait there at the plate for Marcos Gonzalez as finally a 1-0 pitch is on its way home now. A check swing, but it's a called strike. Caught the outside edge of the zone as Marcos Gonzalez looks to reach base for the second time this evening. He walked in the first, came around to score on John Ponder's RBI single. And then he struck out to end the second inning. Called strike there, takes the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes, and now Marcos has to play a little defensive out there. Sam Linscott, that 3-hit game today, his second 3-hit game since he became an Otter. Still a chance for him to fully extend past that as we are still just in the 4th. Gonzalez turns on one. It's past the shortstop. RBI single there for Marcos Gonzalez as Logan Brown comes home to score. Marcos extends the hands, pushes it past the shortstop Jared Watkins, and an RBI single extends it to now a 9-0 advantage for the Otters. Exactly what you needed him to do as well. It wasn't a hard swing, just a clean push through swing that brought it through on the left side of the infield and snuck it past Watkins. Brings LG Castillo to the plate. He hits it first pitch off of Kenny Pearson's ankle. Oh no. The ball ends up over at first base, and Tobias is able to step on the bag for out number 2. But immediately, Kenny Pearson went down after that ball went right back up and off of his ankle. He is up walking around, but man, is he in some pain. And the worst thing you can see in a ball game, second time this evening, we've seen the athletic trainer come out for Lake Erie, Miles Thornton, out there taking a look at things. Seen a replay on home team, and yeah, on the follow-through kick, the ball comes right back up the middle off of that hard hit baseball from LG off of the ankle, the left ankle of Kenny Pearson. Certainly one that looked rough. It is it is a single for Marcos Gonzalez, but then LG Castillo forced out at first there on what will officially go down as a 1-3 putout as the ball went off of Pearson's ankle and ended up over in the first base area where Tobias was able to just step on first. But it does advance Lynn Scott to third and Marcos to second. Good to see Kenny Pearson taking some warm-up throws as he tries to kind of get things resituated and ready to go. He gave a nod that looked pretty hopeful before another pitch. Also good to see behind him a lot of sunshine and shadows finally coming out in Avon as the little rain showers that were getting things started in this game have seemed to subside at least a little bit, and hopefully creating a nice evening for baseball at Forefront Field. Sure glad to see Kenny Pearson all right after that one. Ball lasered right back up the middle by LG off the ankle of Pearson. Crushers are able to get themselves an out. The Otters will move down to Mark Black, who's going to hopefully get something going for them. First pitch on the way home, and it's outside for ball 1. Lynn Scott at third, Gonzalez at second, Mark Black trying to bring one or both of them in. 1-0 pitch home. Called strike, just under the elbows across the heart of the plate. Awaiting the 1-1 pitch for Mark Black here in the top of the 4th inning. It's on the way now. This one sent towards the left side of the infield. Charging in to make a play was third baseman Acevedos. And he ends up overrunning the baseball, it looks like. Yes, he's not able to make a play. Was trying to charge in, and I don't know if he was going to go home to try to take down Lynn Scott on his way there, or if he was just going to go to first for the sure thing out. But as he was running that way, it looked like he looked up and was looking at both of the base runners, looked back down at the baseball, and just plain missed it. And because of it, a run comes home to score as Lynn Scott makes it home. Gonzalez reaches third. Still waiting on the official scoring decision. It's going to be an error on the third baseman that allows the run to score. Second pitch, TJ Salvaggio sees, sent over towards Paven Parks at second base and thrown to first in time for the final out of the inning. But not before the Otters are able to make some more magic happen. An RBI single for Marcos Gonzalez and an error scores another for Evansville. We head to the home half of the fourth. It's 10-0 Evansville on the Otters Digital Network. And welcome back into the Otters Digital Network, the home half of the fourth inning here as the Otters lead the Crushers 10-0 from Forefront Field. I want to extend another thank you to everyone for tuning in tonight, and another thank you to everyone for understanding that our inability to be on Home Team Network tonight. We hope to be able to maybe change that tomorrow. We're going to play it by ear as Evan Patoka just trying to get himself back to 100%, a little under the weather today, and we want to make sure that he's good to go and ready to deliver the best broadcast possible to you guys. So we're helping him out this evening, calling this game remotely from Evansville, Indiana. I'm Matthew Will, Director of Communications and Baseball Operations here at the squad, and from all of us here at the front office, I want to extend another thank you to everyone who showed out and made this weekend absolutely amazing. Over 16,000 fans throughout the weekend series at historic Bosse Field. Almost 8,000 of you joined us on Sunday for one of the most unforgettable games for all of us. So thank you, thank you, thank you from all of us. We can't wait to see you back at the ballpark on Friday night. Leading off the home half of the fourth for Lake Erie is Derek Vegas. And he will kick things off with a ground out to third base after a couple of baseballs were out on the outside edge of the zone. Tries to extend one and pushes it just a little too far to that left side. And Marcos Gonzalez, who has been pretty consistent over there at third, makes a solid throw, and out number one is recorded. Samuel Benjamin, the left fielder, takes to the plate now. He lined out to the second baseman his first time up. They're in the second inning. Another foul ball. This one sent over the first base side. I promised we would, so finally we will get a chance to look through the out-of-town scoreboard. As we await the 1-1 that is fouled off back towards umpire Juan Rodriguez, who's going to take a second because I think that one might have gotten contact with him. And because of that, we will take a quick chance to go through this Frontier League scoreboard. Joliet leading Windy City 1-0. They're in the home half of the second inning. Schaumburg hosting Florence this evening, but Florence holding a 3-2 advantage. In the top of the second inning with the bases loaded and nobody out. Big chance for Florence to put up a crooked number in the second inning. Ball is sent high and deep by Samuel Benjamin towards left, and then it just kind of dies once you get up there. He after he swung the bat, he stood there for a couple seconds and watched it. It looked like he thought for certain he had got a hold of it. Then the camera panned out to left field, and Mark Black didn't have to move too far at all Route number 2, a fly out to left field. Brings up Alfredo Gonzalez, who reached via the error in the second inning. His second opportunity to reach base here in the home half of the fourth with 2 outs and nobody on. First pitch, low ball 1. Mississippi and Washington in a scoreless bout. They are in the third inning right now, and Evansville kind of pulling for those mud monsters this evening as a Mississippi win and Evansville holding on to this and getting a win themselves would put the Otters just a half game back of the Wild Things for first place in the division. 1-1, home to Alfredo. He slow rolls this one over toward shortstop. Salvaggio sends a throw across to first, but unable to put the squeeze on it is Dennis Pierce. And Gonzalez reaches once again on an error. Really hard hit ball that once it hit the ground a couple times just slowed itself down. Salvaggio made a pretty good grab and transfer. The throw across to Pierce just ended up a little bit out of his range and a little low. And they are going to say that it's an error on Dennis Pierce on the catch there. So a second E3 allows Alfredo Gonzalez to reach. Dennis, not a guy that's going to let errors really affect his play. I imagine he gets that one out of the mind quickly, and the Otters try to get themselves out of this now with Jacob Tobias at the plate. Thought about swinging. The ball bounced before it even hit the home plate circle, though, and the count starts out at 1 ball, no strikes. We continue looking through things. Trois Riviere facing off with Sussex County, and Trois leads 5-2 on the road there in New Jersey. Gateway and Brockton doing battle out in the New England area, and Gateway is up 8-1 on the Rocks after putting up a 6 spot in the top of the fourth inning. They have just reached the bottom of the fourth, and it looks like Brockton's trying to put a little fight back into things. Down East trails New York on the road, 4-1 in favor of the Boulders. Tri-City and Quebec doing battle. Tri-City leads Quebec 5-3 with a 5 spot in the top of the third, and they are still going at it in the top of the third. The whole league would probably appreciate a Tri-City win there, as Quebec has really not had a day off in sight. They have played a really good baseball for a long time this year. And as we peek back over to things, Jacob Tobias able to reach on a walk, and that'll bring up Jared Watkins now. So at second base is Alfredo Gonzalez. He reached on the air. Tobias at first after reaching on that walk. And both guys on with 2 outs and a chance for Jared Watkins at the plate. Watch called strike go by, and then watches ball 1 at the eye level go by to even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Even count pitch stays outside. The count goes to 2 balls, 1 strike here for Ben Petschke. Petschke has 2 walks, 2 strikeouts in this game, only allowed 1 hit. The other 2 base runners that have reached base have both been via error. 2-1 on the way. Called strike 2 on the outside edge. Looked like a good pitch, and it almost just froze Jared Watkins. He started the swing and then just couldn't move the bat any further. 2-2 on the way, and it stays high and outside. And it'll have to be a full count for Ben Petschke to get himself out of this bottom of the fourth inning. Big wins feel good, but they can feel even better if you can keep your opponent completely off the scoreboard. And it's a really big pitch here to try to do that for Ben Petschke. 3-2 home. On the outside edge, it stays outside, ball 4, and the bases will be loaded with 2 outs. Another good-looking pitch just on the outside edge of the zone, and Petschke can't get the called strike. Back-to-back walks have loaded the bases. First pitch seen by Luis Acevedo lifted out towards left field, and it's going to be a very simple one for Mark Black to bring in. Fly out ends the threat after 3 straight base runners reach with 2 outs after an error and a couple of walks. Ben Petchke and the Otters get out of things in the 4th. It's 10-0 Otters after 4. It's time for the Buffalo Wild Wings 5th inning. Bottomless laps are now here. Dine in only. Visit either Evansville location on the west side at 5405 Pearl Drive and on the east side at 715 North Green River Road. You can visit them for details. Dine in only with those bottomless apps. Always good at B-Dubs. First pitch home to John Ponder is fouled off towards the right side and out of play. 4th at-bat for John Ponder in this game. Flew out his first time up, a 2-run single later in the 1st inning. Gave Evansville a 6-0 lead at the time, and now he's put a charge into 1 out towards right field. Sliding to try to make a grab was Pike, and it's hard to tell, did he find a way out? I think it ended up bouncing off the turf, and it was a ground rule double out there. As the camera was zooming in out towards right field, Pike slipped, and it was hard to tell whether he was going to make the grab or not. The ball disappeared, and Ponder stopped at second. So it looks like it is a ground rule double to kick things off, a Deerhead double-decker double as well. First pitch, John Ponder gets right on top of things here in the 5th inning. Amani Jones watches his first pitch go across the plate for a called strike 1. We did see a pitching change happen here at the break as well. Dikembe Sanchez checks in to pitch for Lake Erie. Jones fires one out towards left field, and it's a single for Amani Jones. Gets over the heads of both the shortstop and third baseman, and quickly the Otters have 2 on and nobody out here in the 5th inning on back-to-back base hits. Dikembe Sanchez into the game to pitch, and not the start he wanted. Back-to-back hits given up to Evansville. And on the first pitch, he sees Logan Brown. Both guys with similar looking elbow guards. Logan Brown fires one off foul towards the left side. His 0-1 pitch stays low and evens the count at 1-1. Tell you what, Dikembe Sanchez is really working quick up on the mound. Hard to uh, get anything in. Didn't want to let you know Kenny Pearson's day ends with 4 runs allowed on 5 hits and 2 innings of work. Logan Brown pushes one out towards left field. Benjamin retreats a little bit and then takes 3 or 4 steps in to try to cut off the runner towards home, and it's a pretty simple sac fly for the Evansville Otters. And just like that, they add another run of insurance as John Ponder comes home to score on the sacrifice fly from Logan Brown. And we did get confirmation from the score. It was a ground rule double for John Ponder to get things started, and now he's come home to score. Logan Brown, another productive AB in which he ends up recording an out, but it's not the worst thing in the world because it doesn't count towards that batting average, of course, when you get those sacrifice plays. We've seen him maybe 5 or 6 times already this year lay down squeeze play bunts that have scored runs, and he's been really effective in that 3-hole. Exactly the guy that Andy McCauley was expecting to show up here at the beginning of the season. Logan Brown was getting a lot of off-season work in. Obviously, his time he's spent with Mater Dei this spring, helping coach them, he's just been getting a lot of reps, whether that's a fungo bat or whether it's a real bat. Getting himself lots of reps, came into the season in great form, great shape, and he has hit the ground running here in 2026. One of the large reasons Evansville has been able to keep the good times rolling early. You got to turn to your vets in the clubhouse. And that's exactly what they've been able to do for Logan Brown. 2-2 count to Dennis Pierce, and he's stuck at the knees, able to lay off that pitch. They tried to appeal down to first, but there was no swing there from DP, and the count goes to 3-2. Dennis Pierce already with a 2-run homer in this game. Full count home. Stays low, and it's a walk for Dennis Pierce. There's 2 on with nobody out, with 1 out once again. Dennis Pierce 1 for 3 on the day now. And he's reached twice. Amani Jones will advance to second base, and it'll bring up Sam Linscott, who is 3 for 3, 2 singles and a double already. He's scored 2 runs as well. First pitch misses the zone for ball 1. Dikembe Sanchez, not the way he wanted to start his outing today. A ground rule double, a single, and a sac fly RBI back to back to back. Sam Linscott dribbles one through the infield. Going to be a play at first. Real tough throw over from Acevedo. He had to charge in to make a play. And despite the fact that both runners do advance, Sam Linscott is forced out there at first on a really close play. Sam got out of the batter's box really quick and hustled down to first. But this one falls in favor of the Crushers. Both runners advance, however. And it'll bring up Marcos Gonzalez. 2 outs, runners at second and third. Gonzalez takes strike 1 on the outside edge of the zone. Monty Jones at third, Dennis Pierce at second, looking to add to their 11-0 lead in this one. The 0-1, home to Gonzalez. He thought it was going to be way inside it. Somehow caught a little bit of the zone, but it stayed low, unfortunately, for the Crushers, and the count evens at 1-1. Really good pitch there, kind of locked up Marcos. 1-1 coming. This one's dribbled through the infield. It's going to be a tough play. Diving is the shortstop, Watkins. It gets through to center field. 1 run home. 2 runs home for the Otters. It's a 2-run single for Marcos Gonzalez. He's got 2 hits on the day, 3 RBI. Big time for Marcos Gonzalez. Brings in 2 there. Diving is Jared Watkins at shortstop, just past his extended glove. Oh, it would have been a great play if he could make it happen. But Evansville adds to their lead. It's 13-0 Otts. LG Castillo at the plate now. He's 2 for 3, looking to extend to a potential 5th game in a row with 3 hits. Boy, has he had a week. After ball 1, he swings through a pitch to take it to 1-1. Sanchez throwing rather quickly now as ball on the low outside corner takes it to a 2-ball, 1-count strike. Sorry, 2-ball, 1-strike count. Runners at second and third, or sorry, just at first for Evansville. The score bug that they have here on the broadcast is still showing as before the RBI single there from Marcos Gonzalez. If needed, Mark Black on deck right now, just in case, as LG Castillo trying to extend what has been another solid inning for the Otters. 3 straight innings that they've put multiple runs on the board. 2-2 home from Sanchez. Stays low and outside. They appeal down to first base to see if Marcos goes, but he did not, and the count goes full. "3-2. Sent towards the left side, into the hot corner. Played toughly by Acevedos, and he's going to have no play. It played off the heel of his glove, and everyone's going to be safe. Gonzalez gets himself to second, and LG Castillo is going to reach. So the inning continues for the Otters as Mark Black heads to the plate. He helped score a run last inning, reaching on an error, and it brought in Sam Linscott. His first pitch stays just a bit low for ball 1, and Alfredo Gonzalez showed a little disappointment after the pitch came home. He thought that they had gotten strike 1 to kick off the at-bat and said it's a 1-0 count. 1-0 stays low, and it's a 2-0 count now, and we see the scoring's been put in. They are going to call it a error on the third baseman to allow LG to reach. The 2-0 stays high and inside, and it is a 3-0 count now for Mark Black as he's potentially eyeing his second walk of the day. "3-0, and the get me over strike is called by home plate umpire Juan Gonzalez. 3-1 the count now is Dikembe Sanchez trying to get out of the inning. This one's sent on the ground towards the left side. Third baseman Acevedo will pick it up, and the throw over to first is in time. And finally, the 5th inning comes to a close, but not before 3 Otters score. A sac fly RBI from Logan Brown, and then 2 score on an RBI single or 2-run single from Marcos Gonzalez. It's 13-0 Otters in Avon, Ohio. Back at Forefront Field in Avon, Ohio, where the Otters lead 13-0 here in the home half of the fifth. We're into the back half of this ball game, and Ben Peschke starts things off with a called strike here against the leadoff man, Sebastian Alexander, who's 0 for 1 on the day. Reached on a walk, and he flew out to center. Sends one up the middle. Salvaggio, diving stop, throw over to first is not quite in time. It's a infield single for Sebastian Alexander. But man, did Salvaggio make a tough play there at short. Unable to make anything happen with it, however. First time this evening that the Crushers have got their leadoff man on in an inning. But man, did Salvaggio make it tough on him. First pitch home is a called strike to Garrett Pike. He's 0 for 2 on the day, a ground out to second and a fly out to left in his first two opportunities. Ball is lifted out towards left field. Mark Black towards the warning track, and with one hand guiding him on the wall, is able to make a catch out on the warning track, throws in towards second, and it is a rare fly out that a tag up happens from first to second. Sebastian Alexander gets the wheels moving. Mark Black had to run so far backwards that by the time he made the catch, his momentum was still carrying him a little bit towards the wall, and because of that, Alexander takes advantage of it and reaches an extra 90 feet on the fly out from Garrett Pike. Paven Parks, the former Otter, heads to the plate now. 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. Both of his outs have ended the innings that he's been a part of. And he takes his first pitch for ball one. Peschke throws home his 83rd pitch of the evening, outside for ball two. Otters scored 6 in the first. Things were resting, at least for the second inning, and then 2 runs scored in the third, 2 runs in the fourth, and 3 here in the top of the fifth inning. As the Otters are cruising right now behind Ben Peschke's solid day on the mounds. Peschke's trusted his defense to work hard behind him, and they have delivered for him quite nicely. Called strike at the knees. We'll take the count to 2 balls, 1 strike. The flag in center has finally calmed down in Avon. It looks like for the first time this evening, we're playing under some fairly normal conditions. No heavy wind, no rain in the area right now. 2-1. Fouled off towards the third base side, and it will get out of play. And it'll even our count at 2 balls, 2 strikes here as Paven Parks, the former Otter, trying to give some life to the Crushers. A man in scoring position at second with 1 out after Sebastian Alexander advanced from first to second on the long fly out from Garrett Pike. Peschke waiting on the 2-2, glances towards second, and fires home. Ball's lifted out towards shallow left field. Salvaggio actually drops back out of his shortstop position and makes the catch for out number 2. Big out number 2 for the Otters to try to keep the Crushers off the board. So now digging in is the designated hitter, number 4, Derek Vegas. He's 0 for 2 on the day with a couple of ground outs to the left side. Both of them have been decently hit balls, but they've just been on the ground, and the defense from Evansville on that left side of Gonzalez and Salvaggio have been able to stop him from getting on base. His first pitch finds the zone for a called strike. Peschke waiting a little bit longer between pitches here in this inning as he is starting to get close towards 90. His 0-1 stays low and outside and evens our count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Another glance back towards second, where Alexander has a pretty decent lead. and his pitch stays high and a bit inside to extend the count to 2 balls, 1 strike here now for Derek Vegas. Good to see some crowd has stuck around at Forefront Field despite the inclement weather that kind of started out this ball game. And a called strike for Ben Peschke finds the zone on the low side of things. Off speed was able to catch Derek Vegas guessing, and the count is evened up at 2 balls, 2 strikes now. A glance towards second. Ball goes home, and it's a little outside for ball 3, and the count will be even once again. Honestly, this is the reason Ben Peschke is at 90 pitches right now, is there's been a couple of at-bats that have extended just a little bit longer than he wanted. But he's got a chance here to get out of the inning and get through 5 complete. A 3-2. Swinging strike 3, and it's a German-American bank strikeout for Ben Peschke. He's got 3 on the day. The Otters get out of the 5th inning despite a leadoff base hit. We head to the 6th. It's all Otters in Avon, 13-0 in favor of the Otters. Ready for 6th inning action here in Avon as the Crushers trail Evansville 13-0 here in the top of the 6th. John Ponder getting his 5th at-bat of the game already here as we keep things going on the Otters Digital Network. Glad you've joined us this evening. Apologies that we are not able to be connected in with Home Team Network this evening. We're hoping that we will be back to regularly scheduled programming later in the week. Filling in for Evan Patoka as he's a bit under the weather this evening, getting back to full strength. Another ball stays low and outside, and it's a quick 3-0 count for John Ponder. He's reached twice today, a 2-run single in the 1st and a ground rule double in the 5th for the Edward Jones leadoff batter of the game. Next pitch looked all right, but it stays outside for ball 4. It's a 4-pitch walk to kick things off for John Ponder after TJ Salvaggio led the inning off with a single. First pitch here from Amani Jones, fouled off towards the first base side, and it will remain 2-man on, nobody out. DeKimber Sanchez back on the mound here in the sixth inning for Lake Erie. Not the fifth inning he wanted, and now he's trying to kind of lock things down for Lake Erie. The 0-1 misses on the outside and evens our count at 1-1 strike. Low pitch caught Amani Jones guessing just a little bit, and he swings over the top of it to put the count in DeKimber's favor, 1-2. Here with runners at first and second. Nobody out in the top of the sixth inning. The 1-2. They stay low, and Jones swings over the top of this one for strike three. Just kind of looked like Sanchez had Jones guessing in there. Both of those pitches very similar. They started up high, kind of dove off the table down towards the bottom of the zone, and Jones unable to connect with either one. And that'll bring up Logan Brown with one down. Brown, first pitch he sees, fires one towards the second baseman. A spinning throw, it gets away from the first baseman. A run will come home to score. TJ Salvaggio takes advantage of the error. And Logan Brown, on what I imagine can be a single here, and then probably advancing on the air and the run scoring on the air. Hard hit ball at second base, and Paven Parks had to make a spinning throw as he finally brought the ball in. It was bang bang over at first, so I could certainly see the scorers taking this one either way. But right away, Dennis Pierce already up to the plate. He fires one off towards center field, and Alexander just moves a few feet to his left, brings it in, and he'll throw off towards third to make sure Brown doesn't advance, but John Ponder will score on the sac fly, and it's two quick back-to-back opportunities for Evansville to get guys home, taking advantage of an error and then a sacrifice fly, and it's two more runs for Evansville, just like that, 15-0 in favor of the Otts. First pitch is a called strike now to Sam Linscott, with one man on out at second base being Logan Brown. Just one out here. Ball stays low and outside, and that'll even things up. They are going to say Logan Brown reached on an error on Paven Parks at second. So it will not be a single and an error. It'll just be a clean error there. I could see it either way, so I understand the scoring decision there from Lake Erie. Pitch stays inside now for Sam Linscott. And it's 2-1. Ball lifted out towards right field, but it'll stay well foul and out of play. Logan Brown still hanging out there at second base. Sam Linscott trying to bring him in. 2 runs have already scored here in the sixth for Evansville. Pitch stays low, and it's ball 4. So there's now 2 men on for Evansville with 2 outs after Sam Linscott reaches for the 4th time. It brings up Marcos Gonzalez, who has had an evening so far, walked in the first, and has a pair of singles with RBI attached. An RBI single in the 4th and a 2-run single in the 5th. And now he's got a chance once again with runners on, this time with 2 outs. Takes a called strike, and the 0-1 stays outside for ball 1, and the count's even at 1-1. Pitch home to Gonzalez, and it's a called strike on the outer half. Another pitch comes home and stays low and extends things out to 2-2 now. Marcos awaiting the 2-2. Hard swing. Must have just got a little bit of the baseball and keeps himself alive. Pitch comes home. It's dribbled off towards the left side. Shortstop Watkins makes the grab, throws over to first, and it is in time for out number 3. But once again, Evansville puts up a crooked number. 2 more runs come home for the Otters. It's 15-0 in favor of the good guys. Welcome back into the Otters Digital Network and WYIR. Matthew Will joining you this evening as our voice of the Otters, Evan, is getting over a little spell with something. He's just trying to get back to 100% before he hops back on the airwaves. And certainly glad that he is all cool with me filling in for him for the evening. Evan, I sure appreciate it. And I hope you're feeling better in the morning. We can get you back on the airwaves tomorrow as it's time for the United Fidelity Bank 6th inning. United Fidelity Bank, the experience you need and service you deserve since 1914. It's a swinging strike one to kick things off against Samuel Benjamin for Ben Peschke, who is back out for his 6th inning of work. Next pitch is outside, and the count evens up. We are going to have to keep an eye, of course, on the pitch count for Peschke right now. He is at 94, delivers the 95th on the 1-1. That is fouled off towards the left side. As he just looks to keep himself alive in this at bat. Foul ball was weird there. It must have hit a piece of concrete somewhere over there behind home plate on that left side because it caromed almost all the way back into the middle of the infield. Peschke ended up going over and picking it up. 1-2 stays low and a bit inside to even the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Samuel Benjamin, 0 for 2 on the day, a line out and a fly out. Trying to find himself on base for the first time, and a pitch well inside he's able to jump out of the way of. And it saves him from the hit by pitch. Instead, he'll have a full count opportunity to potentially get on base. 3-2. Lifted high and foul off towards left field, and it will stay well foul. And we will remain at 3 balls, 2 strikes. Hope to see lots of Otters fans back at EVSC's historic Bosse Field on Friday night. Be here before we know it. It's Salute to the Negro Leagues night, one of our favorite nights of the year. Ball sent right back up the middle. Salvaggio on a 2-hopper over to first in plenty of time for out number 1 here in the 6th inning. Every year, we're certainly glad to partner with the Evansville African American Museum to put on this night. It's always really fun for all of us involved, except maybe some of the players. If it's a really hot day, the jerseys that they wear are supposed to be authentic replicas of the Negro Leagues jerseys that were worn back in the day. So they are made of full wool. That can make a day pretty tough, especially on a starting pitcher out there in some hot, humid heat. But hopefully, we are graced with some decent weather on Friday nights, and everyone's able to withstand it. It's cool because both teams will wear the jerseys, both the home and road teams, as we salute those of the Negro Leagues who helped pave the way. High chopping ball towards shortstop. Salvaggio makes the snag on the short hop, and it sends it over to first for out number two. Two quick outs via the 6-3 putout. So, of course, Friday night, salute to the Negro Leagues. And then Saturday, you can join us for Small Business Saturday, which is a brand new promotion that we are trying out this year. We're inviting some local small businesses from the area out to the ballpark. You'll be able to interact with them on the outer concourse and help pay it back to our community, and help uh, give back to some of those small businesses around this area that are uh, not as fortunate to always have people coming through them. We're glad to have them out at the ball game. We are kind of using it as a halfway to the real Small Business Saturday, as a chance to take a chance and give them a little bit of love. So make sure when you come to the game on Saturday, you take a second to pop out to the outer concourse and interact with the businesses. If you see something that you like, maybe support them financially as well, but at least go out and see what they have, and interact with them, and give them some Evansville love from all of us here at the Otters. We're certainly glad that we're going to be able to have them all out on Saturday. And then Sunday, you can celebrate Father's Day with the Otters. Going to be exciting to see all the dads out there. A golf ball giveaway, courtesy of TaylorMade, on Saturday as well, or Sunday as well. 2-1 home stays low, and it advances the count out to 3-1 for Jacob Tobias. He's 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout and a walk. He walked in the fourth inning and was stranded out at second base back when the Crushers had the bases loaded with 2 outs and were unable to do anything. Foul ball lifted up and away. We'll take this count to full, which seems we've said that plenty of times for at-bats for Ben Peshke. He's found his way out of a lot of them. The 3-2. Sent right back up the middle. Salvaggio brings it in to first in time. Oh my, TJ Salvaggio makes all 3 plays in the inning. Ground outs to him. That one probably the toughest of the 3. We head on to the 7th inning. After 3 up, 3 down defensively for Evansville, it's all Otts in Avon, 15-0. Matthew Will joining you here on the Otters Digital Network. It's time for the Jacobs Pub 7th inning. Jacobs Pub is proud to support the Evansville Otters in the Jacobsville neighborhood. Be sure to check out First Fridays on North Main, Jacobs Pub at 607 North Main Street. And a familiar face takes the mound for the Lake Erie Crushers here to kick off the top of the 7th inning. Paven Parks moves from second base to pitcher, and as many Otters fans are familiar with, Parks out there with the eye black on, as he always was defensively out there, and now he's got it out there on the mound to deliver some pitches. Because of that, a couple of defensive changes. Acevedo moves from third to second. Paven, of course, moving from second to pitcher. Derek Vegas will move out of the DH spot over to first base, and Tobias will move from first base over to third. First pitch home is fouled off to LG Castillo from Haven Parks. Starts things off 0-1. Just missing the zone is Pavin on the inside and takes our count to 1-1 strike. Castillo's reached 3 times, 2 on singles, once on an air. One of those singles an RBI single. Heavy swing on the 1-1 takes the count to 1-2 as LG was just a little bit out in front of that one. Parks moving rather quickly. 1-2, kicks and deals. Low and outside, and our count evens at 2-2 strikes. Fifth pitcher of the day for Lake Erie. The book is closed on Dikembe Sanchez. He goes 2 full innings, gives up 5 runs, 3 of them earned on 4 hits, strikes out 1 and walks 3. Hard hit ball by LG down the hot corner, and it's called foul. Had it been fair, Tobias did make a grab and try to throw across to first. It was offline just a little bit. Hard to tell what the foot race would have looked like because LG did pull up a little bit early on his way down there because of the foul ball call. And we head back home for a 2-2 pitch for LG Castillo. Otters leading 15-0 here in the top of the 7th. Pitch home, swinging strike 3, up and in, kind of choking up LG Castillo as Pavin Parks for the strikeout to kick off the inning. Left fielder Mark Black will step in now. Mark Black has reached twice, once on a walk in the first inning, in what seemed like ages ago. And then he had a couple of outs and reached on an error on a play that brought home a run as well. He's first pitch swinging, but he's just in front of this one for a swinging strike 1. TJ Salvaggio waiting on deck. See if Mark Black can get himself on base to potentially have a man to move. Check swing, and I believe it did hit the bat on the check swing for a foul ball. Count falls to 0-2 for Mark Black. Nobody on, 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. An 0-2 stays outside, well outside for ball 1. Mark Black's 1-2 pitch, fouled basically straight back, well out of sight and out of the ballpark as the count remains 1-2 strikes. Former Otter Pavin Parks on the mound now for Lake Erie, the 5th pitcher to appear in this game for the Crushers. Starter Andres Parra did not make it out of the first inning. He was pulled, I believe, officially due to an injury, as it was the trainer who walked him off. It was not the skipper or Brandon Sittinger, the pitching coach that went out and pulled him out of the game. It was the athletic trainer. And things have not been great since for Lake Erie. Certainly trying to just find their footing in this ball game. Find what they can take to move towards tomorrow. Count moves full for Mark Black after the ball high. 3-2 comes home from Pavin Parks. Bounces in ball 4, and Mark Black will reach for the 2nd time today on a walk. 3rd time altogether. And that will bring up the 9-hole hitter TJ Salvaggio, who in the last half inning did all the work defensively. 3 up, 3 down, all 3 via the 6-3 putout. First 3 up, 3 down inning the Otters have been able to pick up today. And now Salvaggio has a chance to make something happen with the bat. 1 on, 1 out. First pitch, he sends high and well foul to the right side. It'll get out of play. And the count goes to 0-1. Like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, College World Series action going on this evening. Georgia and Texas in an elimination game over on that all-SEC side of the bracket. It's been a fun postseason in the Division I baseball ranks. A lot of excitement in the opening weekend at regionals. A couple of fun outcomes during the super regional times. And now College World Series has been fun so far. 1-1, and Salvaggio lifts another one high and foul to the right side and out of play. The bullpens here in Avon are set up similar to to EVSC's historic Bossy Field in Evansville, where they're on the field of play down the foul lines. However, theirs are flipped. The pitcher's throwing basically towards home plate instead of out towards the corners. And a swinging strike 3 will sit down TJ Salvaggio. So it is 2 strikeouts in the inning for Paven Parks, but they are bookending a Mark Black walk. So still a chance for Evansville to make something happen here in the top of the 7th. Edward Jones, leadoff batter of the game. John Ponder digging in for the 6th time today, and it's the 7th inning. His first pitch, outside ball 1. In his first at-bat, he had a pretty solid drive out towards right field, but it ended up just a few feet shy of a solo shot to start the game. But later in the first inning, he brought in 2 on an RBI single. Pushes one down the first base line into the corner. Is it foul? Is it fair? Believe it's going to be foul. Just about a 2-run home run down the right field line. A few of the members of the Otters bullpen who are down there surrounding a pitcher who is getting warmed up. It was hard to tell exactly who it was. They were all pushing for a fair ball, a couple of their arms up, giving that indication for a fair ball, but it is a foul on the right side of that corner pole, and John Ponder will dig in for 1-1 now. Mark Black at first, 2 outs. Former Otter Paven Parks on the mound. High pitch is ball 2. The count is 2 balls, 1 strike. The only inning that Evansville has not found the run column was the 2nd. Every other inning, they've put up a crooked number. A 2-1, and Ponder swings through it. Sometimes it is a little bit hard to time up position players who are pitching. This is a little bit of a different scenario, obviously, with Paven Parks, as we know here in Evansville, a guy who can do both sides of the action, so not necessarily a position player pitching. He does have the ability to bring a little bit of stuff. Ball sent down the third base line. Long throw across is offline. John Ponder going to reach likely on an error, and Mark Black will gain an extra 90 feet to third base. Ponder with a couple of hops on that base hit on the infield. Ended up over at third base where Tobias was able to bring it in and send across to first base. I think they're going to call it an error. I could see it either way, just because Ponder was zooming down the line. And there it is. It's a single to third base. Infield single for John Ponder. He's got 3 base hits on the night. And it doesn't look like they add an error at all. Hard hit ball down the third base line. Amani Jones puts one in the corner, and Mark Black's going to score. John Ponder advances to third. It's a Deerhead double-decker double RBI hit for Amani Jones, and the lead grows again. Just squeezes it down the third base line. Amani Jones picks up his second base hit of the day, first one with an RBI attached to it. And it's now 16-0 in favor of the Otters. Logan Brown steps in now. First pitch, he sends one off towards center field. Running in is Alexander. It drops in front of him. RBI single for Logan Brown. As Ponder comes home from third, and Amani Jones reaches third himself then from second after the RBI double. A lot of first pitch swing-ins out there for Evansville this evening. It's almost like they know exactly what's coming their way. Dennis Pierce digs in now, as it's now 17-0 in favor of the Otters. Pierce pushes one off to the right side, well out of play. Foul ball for strike number 1. Pitch stays low and out of the zone. Now 2-1. With the 2 runs here in this inning, Evansville has their most runs in a game this season. They had scored 15 against Gateway on the 19th of May, 17 this evening, a good for a new season high. Another pitch low and outside. Takes the count now to 2-1 for Dennis Pierce. Three 1 lifted out towards center field. It's going to fall, I think, in front of the center fielder, Alexander. Yes, it does. Amani Jones scores. And another run comes in to score for the Otters. 18-0 in favor of him. Dennis Pierce just lifted that thing out there. Alexander came sliding in to try to make a grab, tried to sell it, put the glove up like he had made the catch. But the umpire on that left side of the infield, Jalen Jarvis, immediately puts his arms up to show no, the catch was not made. And it's an RBI single there for Dennis Pierce. And the Crushers convene on the pitcher's mound as a meeting with the full infield and pitching coach Braden Sittinger. Haven Parks trying to get himself out of the inning. Struck out LG Castillo to start the inning. Mark Blatt reached on an error. Then we saw TJ Salvaggio go down via the strikeout. But just like that, the Otters put up 4 straight base hits, a single from Ponder, an RBI double from Jones, an RBI single from Brown, and now an RBI single from Dennis Pierce brings up Sam Linscott with 2 outs and 2 still left on. Logan Brown at second, Dennis Pierce at first, and the first pitch is left alone for a called strike on the low outside corner. Otters at this point just building on what has been their best offensive night of the season. An 0-1. Stays out of the zone and evens our count up. As for Evansville, it's been Ben Petchke the entire evening. He's gone 6 full with just 2 hits allowed, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. No runs to his name. Called strike sends the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes now for Sam Linscott. He's got 3 hits in the game, 2 singles, a double, and a walk. Connects on a ball out towards right field. Long run for the center fielder, Alexander, and he makes the catch running nearly full speed. And finally, the inning comes to a close, but not before 4 straight base hits for the Otters, 3 of which were singles, scores another trio of runs, and it's now 18-0 in favor of the Otters in Avon. Former former Southern Indiana prospect or product, Nathan Anderson on the mound now. Inning starts off with a leadoff double from Jared Watkins. And we apologize if we have something small wrong here or there. It looks like they had to go back into the live scoring to fix something or make a small adjustment. So because of that, our score bug, if you happen to be also watching on Home Team Network or if you happen to be following along in the iScore program, just a little off right now while they're getting that fixed. But give them a couple of moments and Lake Erie will have that up and ready to go. So if we have a count wrong, it just happens to be because of that. A roller over towards the left side is easily sent over towards first and recovered for out number one there as Luis Acevedos grounds out to the third baseman after the leadoff double from Jared Watkins. Back to the top of the order, and Sebastian Alexander, the center fielder, digging in for his fourth appearance of the night. A walk in the third, a single in the fifth. All came after a flyout to start off the game offensively for Lake Erie. First pitch comes home, stays just a bit low for ball one. Glad you're joining us here on the Otters Digital Network this evening for road baseball in Avon, Ohio, between the Crushers and the Otters. This ball's lifted out towards left field. Black making a run towards the wall. It's gone. A two-run home run there from Sebastian Alexander has put the Crushers on the board. And what had just been an 18-0 game now becomes 18-2. Sure, the Otters would have loved to finish this thing off with a shutout. But if you're going to give up runs, it's not a bad opportunity to give them up when you're already up 18. Now a chance for Nathan Anderson to kind of settle in, find the strike zone a couple of times, find his way out of this inning. First pitch is low and outside for ball one. Anderson working rather quickly. This one does find the zone and evens the count at 1-1 strike. We'll get you Ben Petchke's final line in just a moment when we've got a chance. Ball is sent straight up the middle for a single there for Garrett Pike on the 1-1. And it's back-to-back base hits for Lake Erie. Really the first time all game that it's felt like Lake Erie has a little bit of momentum behind their name. They had the bases loaded back in the fourth, but all three base runners got on after 2 outs had already been recovered, and the Otters were able to get out of that jam. This time just 1 out. Runner on first after the 2-run homer from Sebastian Alexander. First pitch home to Paven Parks is sent a mile high out towards right field. And it's actually very shallow. It's the second baseman, Amani Jones, who brings it in. Basically right where he's standing at second base. Looked like it was going to have a whole lot more coming off the bat. Ends up dying once it gets up there. So the pop up to second base is good for out number 2, and the Otters back in a little bit more of a comfortable position with Derek Vegas headed to the plate. Runner on first, 2 outs. First pitch to him, delivered towards shortstop. A jumping attempt from TJ Salvaggio. He's not quite able to get up to it. And it's another base hit for the Crushers, this one out towards left field. Good effort put forth there by TJ Salvaggio. Just unable to make the catch there. While we have a second, we'll give you the final line for Ben Petchke. He goes 6 full innings, gives up just 2 hits, no runs. And he walked 3, struck out 3. But really did a good job to work himself out of jams. His only downside this evening is he just had a lot of at-bats that seemed to climb up into the full count ranks, and they certainly couldn't afford that many times, and that's why he's left the game after 6, just because his pitch count was getting a little bit up there. But pretty solid day up on the bump for Ben Petchke. Trusted his defense, and his defense has really been able to help him out. 1-1 swung on and missed there from Samuel Benjamin. Benjamin's made some solid contact this evening, just has been unable to get one past the defense. A line out, a fly out, and a ground out on a really tough play made by Salvaggio. Pitch comes home and is well outside. Evens the count at 2-2, I believe. They're still catching up on iScore, so we're still not perfectly up to date with the live scoring. But they are awfully close to having things ready to go. Swinging strike 3. It's a German-American bank strikeout for Nathan Anderson, and that's how the 7th inning ends. Couple of runs score for the Crushers. Still not much to worry about. It's 18-2 in favor of the Otters as we head to the 8th inning here on the Otters Digital Network and WYIR. Back for top of the 8th action. Another pitching change for Lake Erie. And it is a called strike 1 to kick things off. It is Garrett Pike, the former right fielder earlier in this game, who's just kind of lobbing pitches in as a position player trying to get Lake Erie through this one. And starting off the inning, Marcos Gonzalez able to connect on one of those pitches and drive it to the left side and get himself on with a leadoff single. Pike looks towards his dugout and taps his chest to say, "That one's on me. Let's find our way around it." And his first pitch home to LG Castillo stays low for ball 1. Always tough for, I think, a lot of players to figure out how to time up when they're hitting against a position player. And this time they are able to get LG to roll over a baseball. It goes to second for 1, but the relay to second is not quite in time. By the time it got there, it dribbled away from Derek Vegas. So the fielder's choice will allow LG Castillo to reach, but Marcos Gonzalez is taken down on the base paths. First pitch home to Mark Black. Fouled away high, I believe. No, just ball 1 there. Next pitch finds the top of the zone to even the count at 1-1. It does seem that it is a little hard for the Otters to adjust right now just to seeing pitches come in at a very different angle with it being a position player throwing home. Whole lot more lob on the baseball as ball 2 goes in there now for a 2-1 count. You're looking at a completely different baseball. Ball sent out towards short again. They go to second for 1. To first in time for the double play this time. And Garrett Pike The former right fielder, now on the mound for the Crushers, is able to get out of the inning despite a leadoff single and a man reaching on a fielder's choice. We head to the home half of the eighth. Evansville leads 18-2. It's time for the McMahon Exterminating Eighth Inning. Remember, you can help with all your pest control needs. McMahon can. Nathan Anderson back out on the bump for the bottom of the eighth inning, and he'll kick things off against Alfredo Gonzalez, the catcher. First pitch home, swinging strike one. Solid way for Anderson to kick things off here in the half inning, especially in that last half. I think things got away from him a little bit further than he wanted to. Settle in here with a first pitch strike against a really solid bat in Alfredo Gonzalez. Gonzalez fouls one off to the right side, a little frustrated with himself after not making the contact he wanted there. And the count's at 0-1. Ball kind of gets high and inside. It looked like for a second that Alfredo Gonzalez was trying to maybe convince Juan Rodriguez, our home plate umpire, that that hit him. But instead, he awaits a 1-2. Check swing, and it's fouled off the inside of the bat. Definitely didn't mean to make contact there. It stopped the bat rotation, and then all of a sudden that ball kind of snuck a little high and inside on him, and he was trying to get his face and bat out of the way and ends up making some contact. 3-2 pitch home. Called strike three. Nathan Anderson picks up a German American Bank strikeout on a gorgeous pitch on the low inside corner. Wins this battle with Alfredo Gonzalez. Big way to start the eighth inning for Nathan Anderson and the Otters. First pitch home to Jacob Tobias. Finds the zone for a called strike. Tobias kicked off the night as the first baseman, moved over to third during all of the defensive changes in which Pavin Park was brought into the game. 0-1 comes home. And it is a swinging strike. Looks like he might have got a piece of it. Foul tipped back into the glove of Logan Brown. And I say glove of Logan Brown. They zoom in with the camera. That's definitely Cohen Wilbanks now in behind home plate. Oh, 0-2 pitch on the way home from Anderson. Pushed out to the left side on a one hop. Gonzalez across the diamond to first in time for out number 2. So it's 2 up, 2 down to kick things off for Nathan Anderson and the Otters here in the bottom of the 8th inning. First pitch finds the zone on the inside edge. Against the 8-hole man, Jared Watkins. He led off the 7th inning with a double, came home to score on Sebastian Alexander's 2-run homer. The 0-1 now. This one swung on and sent foul to the left side. Gonzalez trying to make a charge towards it, and he brings it in for out number 3 in foul territory. Marcos Gonzalez doesn't need to be at EVSC's historic Bossy Field to make magic happen in the foul territory areas. It's 3 up, 3 down for the second time this evening for the Otters defense. We head to the 9th inning. Evansville on top, 18-2. It's time for the McMahon exterminating 9th inning. You know you can trust with all your pest control needs. McMahon can. First pitch misses the zone for ball 1 is once again it is position player Garrett Pike out there on the mound for Lake Erie. Came in from right field in the last half inning to pitch. And he starts off the half inning with 2 balls for a 2-0 count. Salvaggio sends one out towards shallow center, but it's a ball that just hangs up there long enough that Alexander is able to run underneath it and bring it in for the first out. I feel like you see that a lot of the time when you've got position players in, because the ball's coming towards you a little slower and a lot more of a funky angle with the way that it's a little bit arced. It's hard to get a really good strike on the baseball. And when you do, you're not getting as much of that exit velo. The spins are a little bit different. There's a lot going on with the baseball when it's coming in that much slower and in that much different of a pace. And because of that, it seems like it's hard for a lot of batters to get good contact off of it. And you saw it right there. A good hit from TJ Salvaggio, but there wasn't enough speed to really carry it out there to the outfield. Ponder flares one out towards shallow right, and it's actually the second baseman, Acevedos, who drops back and makes the catch for the second out, and it's a quick 2 outs here in the 9th inning for Evansville. So that'll bring up Amani Jones. He has 2 hits, 2 for 4 on the day. First pitch he sees is a called strike. He walked in the first inning, scored on Dennis Pierce's 2-run homer. Then in the 5th, he had a single and came around to score. And in the 7th, he had a wonderful RBI double down the left field line. A chopper towards short, and it's over his head. Amani Jones on the 0-1 pitch is able to chop one out towards left field and pick up a base hit, his 3rd of the evening. Inning stays alive for Evansville. The Otters have at least one base hit in every single inning in this game. First pitch from Logan Brown sent off towards left field, and it's brought in for the third out. So we head to the bottom of the ninth inning. Lake Erie needs 16 runs to tie, 17 runs to win. The bottom of the ninth comes at you next, right here on the Otters Digital Network and WYIR. Time for the bottom of the ninth here from Forefront Field in Avon, Ohio. Evansville leading 18-2. And Nathan Anderson is out there for his third inning of action, going for the save in this one. You can get the save when you pitch 3 complete innings with your team leading the whole time, regardless of how big the lead is, as long as you're not the pitcher of record. Ben Petchke is in line for the win. And a diving grab by TJ Salvaggio. The 1-0 pitch is sent straight back up the middle. Salvaggio goes diving for it. Oh my goodness. It's out number 1 in the bottom of the ninth. Have a day, TJ Salvaggio. One down, leadoff man Sebastian Alexander back at the plate. First pitch he sees is low and inside for ball 1. Anderson awaiting to throw home his 1-0 pitch. It's on the way now. This one's lifted out towards right field. Linscott chasing back towards the wall, and he makes the catch right at the warning track where it meets the grass. I'm not sure how many times I've said this evening, and I apologize in advance. I just called it the grass there. This is a full turf field in Avon at Forefront Field, so though it is looking like grass, it's all turf, but it is where the green turf meets the brown turf out there at the warning track, regardless. So it's 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. Nathan Anderson looking to close this thing out. A dribbler towards first base, picked up by Pierce. He'll walk it over to first, and the Otters win this one, 18-2. All Otts from start to finish. Ben Petchke throws a really solid game up on the mound, and this is a big-time win for Evansville to hang their hat on. 18 runs on 20 hits, 2 errors. Lake Erie scores 2 runs on 6 hits and records 4 errors. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, we'll break everything down for you. 18-2, the final score here as Evansville gets it done in Avon, Ohio. And we're back for the final time this evening as it's now time for the Papa John's post-game show. Papa John's is the official sponsor of the Otters pregame and post-game show, and they're available every night about 10 minutes before first pitch and for these 5 to 10 minutes after every game as we break down things here on the Otters Digital Network. And this game was all Otts start to finish. Things got started in the first inning after John Ponder looked like he might have connected in the first at-bat of the game to start things off with a solo home run. He flies out. Amani Jones follows up with a walk, and Dennis Pierce brings him home with a 2-run home run. Then things just kept going for Evansville. A couple of runners reach, and then LG Castillo brings one in with an RBI single. And later in the inning, T.J. Salvaggio brings one in on a bases-loaded walk before John Ponder drives in 2 with a single. As things progressed, Evansville continued to pile on the offense. They scored 2 in the third inning on a 2-run homer from T.J. Salvaggio. They scored 2 in the fourth inning on an RBI single from Marcos Gonzalez and a run scoring on an error during Mark Black's at-bats. 3 more came across the score in the fifth inning. Started off with a ground rule double from John Ponder. 1 scores on a Logan Brown sac fly, and then 2 come home on a Marcos Gonzalez 2-run single there in the fifth inning. 2 more score in the sixth inning on an RBI error from Logan Brown, and then a sac fly from Dennis Pierce brings in a second there. 3 runs score in the seventh for Evansville. 1 scores on an RBI double from Jones. 1 scores on an RBI single from Logan Brown. And the inning comes to a close with a Dennis Pierce RBI single there in the seventh inning as well. The Otters held off the scoreboard in the eighth and the ninth, but 2 runs did score for Lake Erie in the bottom of the seventh on a 2-run blast from Sebastian Alexander. The win's going to go to Ben Peschke this evening, who, despite having to work through some long counts and some long ABs, looked pretty solid up on the bump for Evansville. Was able to carry things through most of the game. He went 6 complete innings, and in his 6 innings, he allowed 2 hits, no runs, walked 3, and struck out 3. Pretty solid day on the bump for him. He gets the win. The loss goes to Andres Parra, who doesn't even make it out of the first inning, pulled due to an injury, as the trainer was the one who pulled him off the bump with 2 outs there in that first inning. He receives the loss. Nathan Anderson for Evansville goes 3 innings at the end of the game, so he does get to pick up the save with the 3-inning save rule, which is a big-time confidence booster for him, I think. Really needed a game to kind of get his feet underneath him. Gave up a couple runs in his first inning of work, but then in the next 2, really locked things down, had a lot of help from his defense, and they were able to get things done. We saw a lot of pitchers on the side of Lake Erie. Obviously, Andres Parra pulled in that first inning. Adam Brower came in and kind of locked things down for Lake Erie, got them out of that first inning, and then was able to get through the entire second inning without giving anything up. Kenny Pearson enters for the third and fourth innings. He gives up 4. Dikember Sanchez gives up 5 in his 2 innings. Paven Parks gives up 3 in his inning. And then position player, right fielder Garrett Pike comes in and kind of really shuts things down in the 8th and 9th inning. Got some soft contact. His defense helped him out. And we get to the end of this one with an 18-2 win for Evansville to kick off this series. They continue the series tomorrow night at 6:30 local time, 5:30 Central for all of us here in Evansville, as they look to win the series in Avon, Ohio against the Lake Erie Crushers. I hope that you're going to get to hear the voice of Evan Patoka tomorrow night. We'll see how things are tomorrow, and hopefully he's feeling a whole lot better. If not, I'll be joining you again here on the Otters Digital Network here. So glad you guys have all joined us here for baseball this evening. Again, we want to extend an apology and thank you for sticking with us despite the fact that we were not on Home Team Network tonight due to some logistical errors or issues with calling the game remotely. We just weren't able to make it happen tonight, but we do thank you for joining us, whether it was here on the Otters Digital Network or locally on the radio waves at WYIR. So thankful for their partnership as well. I'm Matthew Will saying so long from Evansville, Indiana, where Evansville on the road in Avon got an 18-2 win tonight to kick off the series, their best offensive night of the season. They'll look to keep it going tomorrow night here on the Otters Digital Network. God bless and have a great rest of your night.